All right, welcome to Off Topic, our occasional podcast, all things sports, where we always go off topic. All right, Mr. Matt Macri, what is the top topic we want to talk about today?
NIL.
Name, image, likeness.
Let's start with that, because we got a couple things to talk about with that.
So, first of all, for the uninitiated, in a nutshell, what exactly is it?
Name, image, likeness is now university NCAA players, athletes can get money for their name and image.
Right. They own their name, the rights to their name. They own the rights to their image.
Exactly.
So if you're the top high school or college football player, the school can't sell 5 billion jerseys with your name on it without giving you a cut.
Exactly.
Right? They can't use your picture without giving you a cut.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Even in the they get a piece of the broadcasting.
Yeah.
Right. As with the way that I understand it as well, because these universities were making a ton of money off these kids.
Huge. And the broadcasting.
And the broadcasting was massive.
Yeah.
So now it's, even like you go to gymnastics or you go to volleyball, they're charging at the door $20 a head. You get 20,000 people in there. You do the math. That's a lot of money.
It is
to watch them play. So now it's there's money available for these athletes to more focus on the school and the sport than having to worry about jobs or loans or getting out early, even just so they can pay, so their mom can pay her bills.
Yeah.
Thing, right? A lot of these guys are going to these schools and they don't have any cash.
No.
Well,
you can't work part-time. You cannot get a summer job when you're a NCAA scholarship student.
Yeah.
Because the problem was the coaches would get guys jobs.
Yeah.
And it was basically flouting the rules of paying the players. NCAA's, this drives me nuts. So what's the latest controversy? Let's cut to the chase here.
Well, the latest controversy is Matthew Sluka at UNLV. He is a quarterback that was highly recruited. UNLV came to him. They made an offer. He accepted a verbal offer from the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Right?
That's not just to play football. That's for NIL.
That's for NIL.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he was at Holy Cross before, and through the transfer portal was allowed to transfer over.
Yes.
Which is another mess they've created.
A huge mess.
Okay, so keep going.
So the formal offer from the school was $3,000 a month for living expenses.
Yeah.
Right? For the 4 months or whatever, for 4 months. The offensive coordinator was talking to him and said, we'll get you $100,000.
Yeah.
Right? He gets there.
Now, is this on top of scholarship? That's not scholarship money. That's on
top of the scholarship.
Top of the scholarship.
NIL money.
Right.
Right? We'll give you $100,000. So he moves everything there. He gets the $3,000 for moving expenses, the first $3,000 check. And then the head coach goes, when they start talking about the money, the head coach goes, well, I never made that offer to you.
Yeah.
That's not a valid offer. It didn't come from me.
Nothing written down.
So now he's played 3 games. He's 3-0. He's lighting it up. And he's, you know what? I'm a redshirt. You can play up to 4 games and still redshirt and save a season.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the transfer portal. I'll go somewhere where someone's going to pay me. And this is where the problem lies. Like, when you have a fluctuating calculation like that, where this top player can make $1 million, but the bottom player gets the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Right? These guys are going to start trying to drive up their prices. Good on you. But if they want this to work at the college and university level, they have to have it so the playing field's even. You sell a jersey,
not fair.
you get a buck.
Fair, not even.
Fair,
not even. That's the big difference.
If your jersey sells, you get $1.
Yeah, or
right.
something.
If your picture sells, you get $1. You get $20 because your game was on ABC.
Yeah,
right. It's got to be some sort of scale that's even for everybody.
Yeah,
right.
So
fair,
so let's go back to the beginning a little bit here, because it's extremely murky. So back in the day, 100 years ago, before anybody heard of television, you went to university to get an education.
Yes.
And you were able to play some sports while you were there.
Yes.
College sports quickly became a marketing money powerhouse. Okay. And if there's any organization on planet Earth that should understand the problems associated with college athletic kids, 17 to 24, whatever it is, like children, basically, to young adults, and money, it should be the NCAA. So there have been recruiting problems from big schools. USC lost their football program for a number of years over recruiting violations because you're not allowed to pay the players. So guys can't work part-time because coaches would get guys jobs that they didn't even have to show up for, and they were getting paid, and it was a big mess. And NCAA would crack down on this, and they were trying, but it's like chasing drug dealers. Yeah. Hey, we got to go over the border in a transport vehicle. Well, DEA busts them. Let's dig a tunnel. Oh, we busted that. Hey, let's get a submarine. They're always one step ahead of what the rules are. So now they came along with NIL, which lets them own the rights to their name and their image. Now, I was under the naive understanding that it was just simply that. If you use my name, I got to get paid. If you're selling jerseys, my picture, all that kind of stuff, I get paid. That I agree with.
Yeah.
Okay? There was a young woman. Now, we always talk about it in context of football players going on and get these massive contracts in the NFL. That's 2-3% of all athletes. There's not a lot. There was a young woman from UCLA years ago that had a perfect floor routine for gymnastics. It went viral on YouTube, millions of hits, and she made the statement, NIL is necessary because everybody made money off of that except for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That is not fair.
Yeah.
There's no multi-million-dollar contract for a college athlete gymnastics player after they graduate. It doesn't exist. And they can't make money under the NCAA rules while they're still athletes. Maybe they can go to the Olympics afterwards, but then they can't finish their education. So it was murky, right?
Yeah.
The problem isn't this young man, it's not the colleges, it's not the unwritten agreements, it's the fact that there's no black and white rule.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gray. It's murky gray. So some of these kids get promised NIL, hey, we'll give you, $1 million NIL. Well, that includes a car you get to drive for 4 months that's worth $250,000.
Yeah.
And then you get to live in this house worth $750 for the first semester. There's your $1 million. They're not any further ahead.
No.
And so now this young man comes along and he's going to get skewered because he's trying to work the system to his advantage, and it's not helping anybody. He's not doing any homework. He's not going to class. He doesn't care about the college that, Holy Cross, that obviously gave him a scholarship. That's a good education. That's going to advance his lot in life. He's chasing money.
Well,
and it's just, two things are wrong with this young man. A, he's never going to get drafted now because he cares about himself and the money, right? No one's going to draft this guy. And even if he does graduate, who the hell's going to hire him?
See, he went from Holy Cross to UNLV to step onto a bigger platform. And he's a good quarterback that way. But when you're told one thing by a person of authority in the school, and you get there, and the head authority says, that's invalid. He's gone through all this process to come there because he was made a promise.
Yeah, I know.
And the minute he walks through the door, they're told, no, that promise is invalid. It didn't come from me. He said it. His word doesn't matter.
No.
That's a trust issue with the school.
It is.
And
where's the contract in writing?
Well,
it's got to be in writing. Like you're signing a contract.
It was a verbal agreement.
You sign a scholarship. Here's the money. We're going to give you a scholarship.
He's not trying to hold them hostage for the cash.
No, he's not.
He's saying, no, you lied to me. You misrepresented the school, right? You lied to me. You got me over here. You've completely screwed my year.
Yeah.
He goes, I don't trust you.
No, of course not.
So he's leaving. And I think that's okay. And I think anybody in the business world is going to look at that and realize that this is a man who wants trust.
Yeah.
He wants to be told what's happening and that happen.
Right.
Right. And I don't think that's going to stop him from getting drafted, depending on how he does over the next couple of years. But he's sitting another year.
Yeah.
He's sitting another year. And then he's going back to school, and then and then he's going to play, and maybe in 3 or 4 years this will have died down. He'll perform and he'll get drafted. I don't think this stops him from getting drafted.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But I think this really puts a light on, and I'm glad it's getting the attention that it's getting, because it's putting a light on that these coaches are still coming in here promising these kids, like you said, 17 to 20, like these are 16, 17, 18-year-old kids.
Yeah.
They're promising them the stars, right? And then they're getting there and it's cloudy.
Yeah.
It's very cloudy. right? And this is like when they say you're going to come and be the starter, then you get there, oh, we got this other guy, he's going to be the starter.
Yeah, so you never promised the starter. Michigan's got a quarterback right now, Urgi, I think his name is.
Yeah.
And he went to Michigan because Mike Harbaugh, love him or hate him, said, I'll give you the opportunity to be the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
He's one of these, like, just athleticism. The guy's like 6'3", 238. He's a machine. Doesn't have a great throwing arm, but he wanted to be a quarterback. So he went to the school that said, I'll give you a chance
yeah.
to be, because J.J. McCarthy, he signed last year when J.J. McCarthy was with starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And then he stepped aside, and this kid Warren came in, threw a bunch of interceptions. So last week against USC, they started him. And I watched. He was pretty good. He's got to work on his throwing arm, and they know that.
Yeah.
But they told him outright, you have a chance to be starting.
Yeah.
In other words, you have to earn it.
Exactly.
So you never tell some kid you're going to be our starting quarterback, because all of a sudden Brock Purdy comes along.
Yeah.
And wow. You didn't realize this guy was quite as good as he thought he was,
Well, you're getting that in the media a lot right now. We'll go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
They got Russ Wilson. They got Justin Fields. Wilson's been hurt. Fields has been playing. Fields has been playing well. And they're going to Tomlin. So who's your starter? Who's your starter? Who's your starter? And Tomlin's like, well, right now, Russell Wilson's hurt and Fields is playing.
Yeah.
So he's playing. Well, what about when Wilson gets back? What do you ask me what it's for? You're asking me to predict the future.
Yeah.
Right? Like right now, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. In the media, they just want to drive and try and get them to catch them off guard to say something different just once.
Yeah.
And run with it.
Yeah.
Right?
Done that a million times. I think
Yeah.
Stop talking to me. Oh, okay, fine. You do it all the time.
So you said this, but now you're saying this.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Oh. No, and I think it's horrible. I mean, and this goes back to the schools. Now, if you're gonna make a promise, keep up to it.
Yeah.
People with social media, with this guy in the news and everything, they're seeing more and more that they can't trust what people are saying.
Yeah.
Harbaugh, you could trust.
Yeah.
There's schools that you could trust with it.
Right. But I mean, it's all in the language, right?
Yeah.
But part of so here's the problem with NIL, with the murkiness. Okay, here are the rules.
Yeah.
But they're gray. And there's always going to be caveats. So almost what needed to happen is NCAA athletes need almost their own union or association that can go to NCAA and say, hey, here's what we want from NIL. Here's our offer. And then NCAA, and they can almost get like a CBA, a collective bargaining agreement, where both sides agree to how it's going to work.
Yes.
And that didn't happen. And so now we have all these problems. And the transfer portal is another problem. Like Jaden Daniels, who's killing it with the Washington Commanders. I watched him on the Monday night game.
Yeah.
Really good. He's got a sick O-line, which is half the reason, 90% of the reason he's doing so well. He started off at ASU, Arizona State University, and then transferred to LSU. And okay, so it worked for LSU and it worked for Jaden Daniels. He got a Heisman, he got drafted high, he's in a good team. It worked out. But what about ASU? I mean, ASU committed millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands in a scholarship to some kid that was going to come play for them. Yep. If you want to transfer out after 2 years from a D1 school that made a hundreds of thousands of dollars scholarship offer, then don't go there. Go to JUCO.
Yeah.
Do 2 years at JUCO. You're only going to be there for 2 years. You're not committing. And you then transfer over to the LSU after that. Like, it's not fair, in my opinion, to the original school that made an offer. And you had a contract, right?
Here's the issue. When they started the transfer protocol, you took away anybody's word meaning anything.
Right.
I'm going to come play with you for 4 years, right? And if you wanted to, you didn't want to play that anymore, you sat a year.
Oh, yeah.
You sat the whole year. Yeah. Like not just a bit of it or anything.
You shouldn't be able to just switch school.
Your word doesn't mean nothing. I'm going to come. We've made an agreement that hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition and residency and food and training and all this stuff.
Coaching, the weight rooms, like those weight rooms in the training facilities that, these schools are better than the library. Like the head coach is a nicer office than the president of the university, for God's sakes.
They're committing this money to him. He's committing to the school for 4 years.
Yeah.
That agreement's got to be in place.
Exactly.
Now, there's always going to be reasons where it doesn't work. Partnerships like that don't work. So the school may want to get rid of him. He may want to get rid of the school. I get that. But the grass is not always greener on the other side.
No, it's not.
So, and that's where the Jaden Daniels comes in, is that I'm at ASU, which is a smaller market team than the LSU, where I've got, I could win a Heisman and get drafted higher. He's starting to think of his future and look at that. And good on you, but don't make that commitment to start off with.
No, of course
Start there.
Go to JUCO, or you can't get drafted out of high school. Just go to JUCO for 2 years.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's not the end of the world. And it's just, if you're building a generation of athletes that are thinking about themselves and the money first.
Yeah.
And it's not going to work out. You're not helping anybody.
Well, you start to prove that you're not a man or woman of your word.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not a person that can be
and
trusted.
there should be, if you want to transfer over, there should be an appeal process. With I'm hating this. So my coach calls me a piece of crap every day. I show up early. I'm putting my time in more than anybody else, and the guy still treats me like crap. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm miserable. Yeah. No problem. Okay, we get it. You talk to the coach. Oh, this and that. They're not stupid. It's not working out. Yeah. You don't have to agree to sides to realize it just isn't working out.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Let's let you transfer over. You'll have to lose a year of eligibility.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just miserable. Yeah. Right? 100%. People kill themselves in university for 4 years, get a job at Google. 4 years later, they're like hair's falling out and they can't stand it. They should be able to go over to Apple. Or something. You know what I mean?
And you can, but I mean,
it happens in life.
But there's ramifications if you sign contracts.
Oh yeah, for sure. And scholarship to me is a contract.
Exactly. But so there's got to be ramifications for it. It can't be as simple as. Then you get like the Deion Sanders mess.
Oh,
right. Jesus. Where he was at the one college,
Jacksonville State, killing it, did a great job.
Goes to Colorado. Jacksonville State fills the transfer portal to come over. The players there because he wants to bring them with him.
Yeah, it's kids.
Colorado's like, I'm getting out of here. All the players there go into the transfer portal and get out of there. Both these schools are left in a lurch.
Yeah.
You get money all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just crazy. The thing that I think here, though, is that offensive coordinator needs to go.
Yeah.
Barry Odom, the head coach of the UNLV, needs to boot Brennan Marion out the door.
Out the door.
You can't be making promises in my name that I can't keep.
Yeah. And you know what? We're dealing with 17 and 18-year-olds. If you're going to get into multi-million-dollar NIL agreements, you need a lawyer.
Yeah.
You need an accountant. Because there's kids that sign up for these things, not really understanding what they're doing. Suddenly they owe $70,000 in back tax that they never knew they had to pay.
Yeah.
I think, at 18 years old, did you understand income tax? Of course not. You don't know. It doesn't make any sense because you get a scholarship. Technically, that's income, but under the, T45/78, it doesn't count against income tax. You're getting income. It's a messy deal. And if you're going to do this, you need to know what you're getting into. And I'm going to read you something off of Facebook so you can. Okay, my stupid fingerprint's not working. This is Libby Dunn. Libby Dunn is a brilliant young woman who is a gymnast at LSU.
Yes.
And she is the epitome of the NIL athlete. She makes about $7 or $8 million a year. Her boyfriend is Paul Skeens. He was the fireballer of a pitcher at Pittsburgh Pirate. She makes more money than he does.
Yeah.
She's still in university. Okay. So she's a very bright, very fit, very pretty young woman. It's not supposed to matter, but unfortunately it does. Amazon Prime documentary. I'm going to read this. She shares why she opted out for online classes since her sophomore year. It wasn't just the convenience of studying remotely. She was dealing with something much darker. Death threats, harassments, fear for her safety. I like going to class, right? But then she gets a text from somebody saying, you're not going to make it back to your dorm tonight. There's one off incident. Dunn revealed that threats kept pouring in, even targeting her teammates, mounting pressure and fear became overwhelming, forcing her to retreat from campus life. She can't even go to campus. Even her coach, Clarke, stepped into a role of protector, acknowledging that her skyrocketing popularity came with the burdens. Over 8 million TikTok followers and more on Instagram. It was intense, but she didn't realize just how intense. You just don't understand what's going to happen until it happens, right? I mean, there was these cringe words. She's at practice. People are yelling like gross things to her. Her boyfriend, Paul Skeens, who was at LSU, had to go over and talk to an aggressive fan who crossed the line.
No.
This guy's 6'3", 238. Good luck. Right? It's just, she has to have a security guard named Brian. She feels safer, but the scars of navigating such a toxic public environment linger. Despite the chaos around her, she remains resilient, praising the school for stepping up allowing her freedom to focus on what truly matters for sport, and I'm assuming her education.
Yeah.
So it's
It's crazy. I mean,
you got to be careful what you wish for. I mean, anybody who's ever put up, I don't like vegans on Facebook will understand the vitriol that comes at you from just saying something.
well,
right?
the other thing is she's a social media personality as well.
Of course.
So a lot of her money comes off social media, as well as the NIL.
Oh, yeah.
So she's put herself out there. She's a very outgoing girl. She wanted to enjoy the college life. She wants
Very
to be
pretty.
center stage.
She's marketable.
She's marketable.
Yeah.
She wants to enjoy her life, right? And that's the thing. Like, step off.
Yeah.
Like
Just a sport. It's just like, okay, so she puts up silly, pretty TikTok videos.
Yeah.
Well, she's not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
Why would you say something you're not going to make back to your dorm tonight? Why would you say that?
that. It's just wrong.
It's not funny.
But then okay. So I went down to San Diego years ago, and it was Junior Seau's induction into the Ring of Honor for the Chargers. So we went to the game. We went to Seau's pub afterwards.
Yeah.
I got upstairs. I got to talk to everybody, and I got a picture with Junior. I got a picture with a couple other guys, and my girlfriend at the time had I bought a football.
Yeah.
It was one of those like this, the autographed football, right? And she kept sticking it in everybody's face to sign.
Yeah.
I'm like, put the fuck thing away.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to say, hey, I'm really glad to meet you. I've been a big fan of your work.
Thank you so much.
Walk away.
Yeah, that's all.
Walk away. That's it. The guy's not going to adopt me. He's like, if this lady's not going to marry you or date you because you stalk her.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just say hi. Say I appreciate what you do. I'm a big fan. Walk away.
What was the Taylor Swift boyfriend, the really boring guitar player? John Mayer?
Yeah.
So Taylor Swift, her bread and butter was date somebody, they break up, she writes a heartbreak tune about it. That's what she does. Whatever. It's just songs. So long story short, she had to rewrite a bunch of songs so she could get the royalties off it, right? So she rewrites some song about her breakup with John Mayer, and somebody goes on social media and said, wow, I hope he dies.
Yeah.
Right? And John Mayer sees this and comes on Twitter feed and goes, seriously? You really want me to die?
Yeah.
Like, you actually said this? And the woman said, oh, I didn't know you wrote these things. He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, we dated and we broke up, and she wrote a song about it. I do that. She does that. It's just words. What the hell is wrong with you?
It wasn't like he beat her.
No, they dated and they broke up. It happens. It gets messy sometimes emotionally. And someone's like, well, I hope he dies. Why? Because you like Taylor? You think Taylor Swift wants her ex-boyfriend to die?
Yeah.
Like, that's what, it's bad news. Okay.
All right, moving on.
Mess. Let's move on. We're not here.
Let's move on to Shoheio Ohtami.
Shohei versus Judge.
Wow.
Versus Vladdy.
I mean, versus Vladdy.
He had a good
How are the Jays doing?
Well, they're doing great now.
Yeah.
You get the whole summer, whole off season off.
Their golf game is going to be fabulous.
Isn't it, though?
All right, so let's recap here. Dodgers are finishing up the year this weekend. I think tomorrow's the last game of the season.
Next week, Tuesday, MLB playoff wildcard.
They win.
Wild card starts.
Dodgers win tonight against Colorado. They are the best team in baseball. End of story. Yep. It's a fact, Jack.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie. Right now they're two games ahead of Philly. They're 2 games ahead of Philly for the overall standing. So if they win today, they're the best team in baseball.
You know what that means? Once the postseason starts?
Absolutely. Well, they get a break. They get a break, which
you know what that means? Once the postseason starts?
No.
Bupkis,
They get a bye.
0.
And they need that bye right now. Freddie Freeman rolled his ankle stepping on first base the other night.
Yes, it's not like he's ever stepped on first base. But
the first baseman rolled his ankle stepping on first base. He was running out ahead, which is nice to see because I saw one highlight today. Twins, Korea, right? He hit the ball. It didn't look like it was like going to be a typical play, and they missed through the ball at first, and he was jogging, and then he realized they missed through the ball. He sprints, right, and he still got out, and it ended up costing them a postseason berth.
Oh,
yeah. So
awesome.
I mean, they were losing the game anyways, but that was the last out. He would the tying run on the base type thing.
You never know. Yeah,
you never know. You had a chance.
Right.
But he didn't even try.
Okay.
But
get back to Shohei.
Let's get back to this. So the Dodgers are going to be the best team in baseball. The pitching staff's a little beat up right now, so the week off's going to be nice. Shohei last week hit 50 homers and 50 steals in the same game.
Unreal.
Now, this is like, you talk about performances in sports. This has to be the ultimate dominant performance in sports, in any game. 6 for 6 at the bat, 5 extra base hits, 10 RBIs, 3 home runs, 2 stolen base.
There's a stat out there that shows his numbers against the entire White Sox organization. It's crazy.
And they went through this, and no player through the entirety of their career have done those 5 things.
All in one game.
In their career.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no one's ever gone 6 for 6 in one game and five extra base hits and 10 RBIs in their career. He did it in one game.
It's amazing.
It was unbelievable. But he was at 48 and 48 for stolen bases and home runs. And he ended up surpassing the 50-50.
Yeah.
Only player that's gotten 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases.
Awesome.
In the majors.
Awesome.
You know, so he's just having a career year here.
And baseball needed this desperately.
Yes.
They desperately needed something to get the fans tuning in and paying attention. And this is really good for baseball.
100%. Like, people are showing up for this like crazy. And then on the other side, you got Judge, who's just a phenomenal baseball player, but he doesn't steal bases.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
but he does play in the field.
He does.
With a killer arm.
Defensive genius.
Yeah.
And he hits balls out of the park like mad.
So he's got 58 home runs and almost 150 RBIs in the season.
He's
batting 325 or something.
So they want to compare the two. And I don't think you can. I mean, they both bring so much to their team.
You can compare them because they hit for average and power.
Yeah.
Right? Shohei, of course, is a pitcher. What's his elbow trouble?
Tommy John,
See heals and steals, whereas Judge is a brilliant outfielder, Gold Glove caliber outfielder who hits for average power.
But see,
right?
Shohei is a Golden Glove outfielder too.
Not this season.
Not this season because of the surgery. You can't throw the ball very far, right? But he's off pitching off the mound now.
Yeah, and
they're saying they may use him in the playoffs, which would be crazy.
It would be good.
You know.
Now I have a little bit of an asterisk towards the game, and now it's super clear. I got nothing against Shohei. He's awesome for baseball, and I deeply admire everything he's done. My only issue with this is the little asterisk I want to put up. It was a regular season game. They had to win to clinch, so it was an important game. And it was against the Miami Marlins, which are a terrible team. Okay?
Yes.
If I look at individual accomplishments that have never been replicated in baseball, to put it into context, I look at 2 games. Don Larson's perfect game in the World Series, which is
great.
The pressure's on. And then Jack Morris in 1991 going 10 innings, Game 7 against the Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
The Atlanta Braves are unbelievable. Were at that time at the beginning of a dynasty.
You drag your Blue Jays in here.
I'm not going to drag them in. Jack Morris allowed 1 run. He pitched 10 innings. It is rare for a pitcher these days to even go 6. It's Game 7 of the World Series.
Everybody's on a pitch count. Yeah.
Game 7 of the World Series is the only game that matters. Like, the Super Bowl is the only game that matters. You know, the NBA Final Game 7 is the only game that matters. Game 7 against, in the Stanley Cup Final, it's the one game that matters. Right?
I think any win.
Anybody goes 10 innings that defies logic, and he wasn't a young guy when he was doing it, just to plow horse it.
Yeah.
And just stay that focused and that intensity under that game. To me, that's a bigger accomplishment than what Shohei did. I love Shohei. I love what he did, but it was a regular season game. If they go to the World Series and he puts up those numbers in Game 7 against a dynasty team, for sure.
I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying. And, what if you want to look at it that way, that it's a regular season again against the Miami Marlins, who aren't very good.
Yeah.
But you didn't see anybody do that against the White Sox this year, who lost 121 games, right? So, it's still tough.
I can't stop laughing when I think about the White Sox.
These are professional football players, or baseball players.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it, they may not have team chemistry. Things might be injuries. Just because they're a bad team now doesn't mean they're all. They're still professionals out there.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and that's the kind of thing that I look at when I joke about when I say best performance ever.
Yeah.
Is I'm a big Dodgers fan, so I'm always going to be
For sure.
But when you're comparing an apple and an orange, a pitching versus a batting, right? You know, when they talk about Tom Brady's the GOAT,
Yeah.
right? Well, there's very good defense players too. Like, is he the GOAT of all football or just of quarterbacks, right? Receivers, you know, like you got to put it into context. When those things, those comparisons are thrown out there, who's better, LeBron or Jordan, right?
Yeah.
You know what? 90% of the athletes don't even care about those comparisons.
No.
They're trying to be better than they were yesterday.
Yeah.
Right?
And they want to beat the guy in front of them.
They beat the guy in front of them, be better than I was yesterday chasing the guy in front of me.
It's good for guys like us to get talk about it.
So, but here's the thing. His 50th home run was hit in that game. And there's a big controversy going on right now. And there's a video of it where a young man, 17-year-old man, goes is out there in the field, gets the ball. Right?
Yeah.
And an adult jumps over the chairs, right? Locks his hand between his legs and rips it free and took the ball. Now that ball is going up for auction and it's starting off at $500,000.
Yeah.
Is the opening bid. They figure it's going to get $3 million. I think.
Why are we watching that?
I think after this commercial is actually the video of it.
Okay.
So I just couldn't get past the commercial. So USA Today, thank you. Yeah, here's the fan scramble. Oh my goodness.
There's a couple of them. You hit the skip button.
Skip it.
See, hey, you know, some kid catches the ball.
So here's the guy that took it.
Yeah.
Right? But this kid in the red jersey, so if you watch it here, there's a scramble and the kid goes down there and he grabs the ball and these grown men are jumping all over it and he's got the ball there and the guy's ripping it out of his hand.
Yeah.
Right? And he's afterwards, he's like, hey, I had that.
Yeah.
Right? The guy's high-fiving his friends. He even turns and high-fives him. He's like, give me the ball back. And the guy turns and high-fives him. You know? He's like, that's mine.
Yeah.
You know? And
kidney punched him.
he's just taking up to that. Like he turns around.
What an asshole, yeah.
And the kid's got his hand up. And he's like, there you go. There's a high-five for you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, give me my ball back is what he wants, you know? Like, so it's gone to auction. The kid put it in. The kid's parents they're putting a civil assault lawsuit against.
Oh, of course they should,
because the guy wrestled, attacked him.
Yeah,
right.
18-year-old kid,
and then charged him with theft as well. So there was the judge heard it, said it can still go up for auction because the kid's still going to auction it off.
Yeah,
if they decide ownership of the ball.
Yeah.
The auction runs from I can't remember the date,
whatever,
but it goes to the 16th of October.
Yeah.
So they're having a hearing on the 10th to decide ownership of the ball, right? And from what I've heard is that video shows that he had it, and it was taken from him.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it's going to go, but there was enough. They wanted to stop the auction, but the judge said to the family, well, what are you going to do then? Well, we'd sell it, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's ways around it. You can go to auction, you can sell, and the money just stays in escrow until they figure it out.
So I'm hoping at the very least it's like a 50-50 thing.
All right.
Right? Because when you go after those balls, it is a scramble, it is a wrestle for the ball. It's because of the value of this ball that it's becoming, the courts are getting involved, right? So
agreed.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, that adult should have, it says to the kid he should have made sure that kid had and protected him.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody touched this kid. Can we get security to get this kid out of here?
Yeah. And you can see he had it in his hand.
Yeah.
So, and the other guy's pulling it away from him. So I get kind of frustrating.
I know. So baseball, and on the opposite scale of Major League Baseball, which is beautiful about baseball because you have a 162-game season, the Chicago White Sox, this is what you can only do this in baseball, have lost, now set the record, out of a 162-game schedule, have lost 121 games. It is unreal how bad they were. And the fans literally were starting to show up to literally watch them lose because they wanted to see if they could break the record.
Yeah.
I don't know how a team gets that bad. And it's bad management, bad decisions, trades, drafting, all that kind of thing. If I'm the, touted number one prospect in baseball going to the draft, I'm like, dude, don't touch me. I'm to go play in Japan, so you can't.
2 years ago, they were in the playoffs.
I know.
They were contenders.
I know.
They were favored to win in the American League.
Yeah.
And then now...
Bad.
I saw a video, or I read an article, but how did they get this bad? And it details all the things, all the missteps that were done, the players that left, the people that they brought in to fill it, the trades that were made, draft picks that didn't pan out, people getting hurt, and how it got to this point where they've got all this money invested and nothing to show for it.
Yeah. You're going to shrink the payroll. It's like, it's not going to work. You need to like just sit down. I mean, the White Sox have an opportunity because they are a rich team.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So I think you can sit down and just go, okay, this was disaster. But here's the opportunity. We have the first overall pick. We can get a marquee player.
Yeah.
You know, let's get some scouts in. And just, you need a 5-year plan, right? I mean, I'm a Jays fan, and 92, 93 were brilliant. And they kept trying to win, winning trades, and they had nothing left in the farm system. And it's like, okay, where's the 5-year plan? And you sit down, and it's not easy. It doesn't always work out, but you need, proper management that could, because there's, in baseball drafting, there's above slot and below slot.
Yeah.
So above slot is a top prospect where you have to pay him a massive signing bonus. And a lot of the poorer teams, like the Toronto Blue Jays for a long time, would have access to an above slot player, but would go down because they don't want to pay them the money.
Yeah.
So you have to have that investment and stuff. It's complicated, but if you sit down with proper management and they say, look, let's figure this out, they can turn things around. Everybody can have a bad singular season.
Oh, yeah.
There's some good teams like Pittsburgh right now, finished a game or two below 500. They got Paul Skeens. He was lighting it up, and people are tuning in to see him. De La Cruz, I think, is a shortstop. Went 20 for 20 this year. So he's starting to find his legs. Guy throws the ball from shortstop to first at 90 miles an hour. He has an unbelievable base speed. So there's teams out there that are doing okay, and hopefully, I like to see the small market teams. I'm kind of pulling for Milwaukee this year, kind of pulling for the Guardians.
See, but if you're not the Carolina Panthers or the NFL, you don't go on the team and go into the season thinking, we're going to be the worst. We're going to be the worst. You build a team and you put it out there on the field and you see what happens, right? You work your talent.
And a lot of times it's like bad management, bad ownership. Like Carolina's just bad
performance.
Bad performance.
Bad attitudes.
Yeah.
You can't always blame it on the management because sometimes players get out there and they've got stuff going on. It's like, they're not making the right decisions with regards to their sleep and their training and everything. Bad performances out there. Everything that's great on paper. Right? And but everybody's undefeated. The road, you gotta be able to produce.
Everybody's undefeated the first game of the season.
So let's talk about last thing about baseball here. A bit of a sad note here is the Oakland Athletics have played their last game in Oakland. They're going to be in Las Vegas, whatever, next year.
They're going to Sacramento.
Are they? Yeah, that's right.
Which is I mean,
right.
This is it's
and it's like the Golden State Warriors went to
San Francisco. It wasn't cool enough to be in Oakland anymore. And then the Raiders are off to Las Vegas with that creepy, icky owner.
Well, he was always the owner. He just took it with him.
Al Davis owned the Raiders forever.
Yeah, it's his son, Mark Davis.
Is that Mark Davis?
Yeah, it's the one that...
He's 60 years old and like weird looking. He's got a 26-year-old girlfriend.
Yeah.
Gross.
Well, money can buy you love.
You can buy you love.
Yeah.
So, divorce settlement.
So, and it is sad. It is sad.
It never has to happen.
No. I mean, when you think about the McGuire Canseco years, Ricky Henderson,
had some
Eckersley,
Reggie Jackson,
Holy
Fingers,
yeah, like
Light of Blue.
You really feel bad for this, and then the amount of people that showed up and the love that they had for their team, just torn from them.
And it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Put no money into the facility, put no money into the team.
Yeah.
And of course it crashed and people stopped showing up. That's what happens. Oh, it's not working. Well, you've got the worst payroll in the league. Yeah. They're building, like, there's paint chipping off the concrete because they don't want to paint it. And the city sat down and said, okay, let's work out a deal and we'll rebuild that whole area of the waterfront. And then halfway through, he bails.
Yeah.
And it was one of the reporters for Oakland, who's probably going to get unemployed now because there's no sports in Oakland, confronts the owner on the team. He's like, you have absolutely destroyed this team and your family legacy. He got in his face and told him, you did not have to do this. It's just greed. Yeah. And he ripped him to shreds. And, nothing good. Like, who's the ESPN guy? I can't remember the bold guy. He's like, Las Vegas isn't going to support this team.
No.
Give me a break.
No.
Oakland had a team that had a fan base, that had everything you needed.
Yep.
And you just had to put some money into it. And the money you're putting into Las Vegas is the same money you could have put into Oakland. And it's just greed.
But you go back to the Chargers when they left San Diego, went to LA, is that the owner of the team says, I'll put X number of dollars in. City, how much are you going to put it? Nothing. Right? Wait, okay, can you give us land for it? No.
Yeah, see that was the problem.
So you got these two entities that don't want to work together.
But the city did want to work with Oakland. They were working with the
after the Raiders actually left.
After the Raiders, but I'm talking about the A's.
Pre-Raiders leaving, they didn't want to hear nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And it got voted down a couple of times about the luxury tax that they wanted to put out there.
Yeah.
Right. To raise the money for this. The city of Oakland voted it down.
Yeah.
And then so the teams get put in a spot, and I don't agree with either side here because there's a lot of money being made in sport.
The city, so we're clear, a municipality does not make a lot of money off a sports team. Maybe property tax, but that's it. I mean, it's part-time jobs. The players don't stay in Oakland. They go to L.A. or wherever, Florida or Arizona, where there's no taxes, despite the fact you're making millions of dollars. So and in the Raiders case, they're the Oakland Raiders forever. Al Davis didn't like the facility, so he moved to L.A.
Yeah,
and they wanted to get I think there was the Hollywood Downs. It was the old racetrack.
Right, where SoFi is now.
He wanted to get it, and then the city didn't let him have it for some reason. I don't know what the whole thing was. So we went back to Oakland, and then all of a sudden it sounds like we're going to move again. And so the city's like, well, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Kansas City Chiefs need to redo Arrowhead, and the owner, who's worth $24 billion, who sells out every single game, has Taylor Swift showing up, wants the city to give him money to rebuild it.
Yeah.
It's like, no. And Oakland has challenges, man. Like the drug addiction in that city, the homelessness, the tent cities. There's a lot of bad things going on in Oakland. And do they have the money to give to a billionaire owner so they can subsidize a stadium that's empty 95% of the time? They don't have the money. There's other things happening.
But there's people, there's cities and teams that make it work.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Right? They make it work. And San Diego, the Padres, they put the stadium down in the city along the water. Yeah. Right? They build a convention center beside it. The city gets all the parking money.
Yeah. See, there's a deal you don't get.
So if they work together, but here's the thing is, they're like, okay, so I'm making $1 million, you're making $1.5 million. Well, I want the $1.5 million. And
it's nickels and dimes.
It's nickels and dimes here when you're talking billions of dollars.
Yeah.
But also, if you want your city to be a destination that people want to travel to, you have to have stuff there for them.
Yeah, you do.
And there's just nothing left in Oakland.
Yeah,
at all.
Nothing.
Even the Oakland Zoo is like the scraps.
Yeah, no.
You know.
I'm actually going there in November. I'm driving down. But I mean, it's murky. Like we use that word a lot, and sometimes it's just plain greed.
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers owner wants $600 million from the city so he can put indoor bathrooms in at the stadium where they play.
Yeah.
I mean, he can afford that. And $600 million can build a light transit line from the airport to downtown. Yeah. That does more for destination in a city with a lot of heritage. Oakland, it's a tough city.
Yeah.
There's very difficult neighborhoods where you don't want to go to. My aunt lives in an okay part of town. I want to go hit some of the food trucks and stuff, and I'm not sure how safe it is after 5 o'clock at night that it's going to be for me to go see these things. So Oakland's not a rich town.
Yeah.
It's always been a gritty town, and the main driver is the port with longshoremen.
Yeah.
And it's, only a few people get to work at the longshoremen, and a lot of longshoremen now live in Stockton and have to commute in for several hours every day because the price of housing in Oakland is now through the roof.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's crazy. There's a lot of issues in Oakland, and a baseball team is not something the city can really afford, even though they're willing to work with the owner to make it happen. And he bailed at the last minute because Las Vegas, which, has gambling, offered them a bunch of money.
So it's just in the facility, like on a platter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. Caitlin Clarke had a great season.
Early.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any women's basketball this year. I got into NCAA last year, but I didn't get into WNBA.
But you look at a team that was 1-4 to start the season. her and Elia Boston, or Thomas, was it? No, Boston. Yeah, Elia Boston started getting some chemistry going, and they made it to the playoffs.
Yep.
Great job. Fabulous year for her. I bet you she just wants a rest.
Yeah.
Because, like, let's be honest. She went to school, played her whole season, got drafted. 2 weeks later, she's played for the Fever.
Yeah.
You know, I bet you she just wants a break. And when she's putting some size on, you can see the pictures that she's bulking up.
Right.
Just wait for next year. I think the Indiana Fever are going to be the team to beat.
Here's the problem when you're the top player, you get drafted to a crappy team.
Yep.
Right? And so next year they get another draft pick. And the beautiful thing about the WNBA is there's only about 16 teams, and there's about 400 women college teams, and there's a lot of really good players.
Yeah.
So even if you're drafting 16th first overall, you're still going to get a really good quality player.
Yeah.
So they can really start building through the draft, and then the Fever are going to start moving up in the standings real quick.
100%.
So yeah, so Caitlin Clarke, I mean, she's the face of the WNBA, along with my girl Angel Reese, who hurt her wrist. Hurt her wrist.
The two of them,
Cameron Brink.
You knew it was going to be
Okay,
great
Johnson.
coming out of university last year. You knew it was going to be great. It was fabulous seeing them play together on the All-Star team.
Really did.
You know, like and I liked how Reese said, you know, we're rivals on the court. We don't hate each other.
No.
You know, we're going to play together at points.
And 4 years from now, it's going to be she and I going and representing the United States. So there's no look past. It's going to be really exciting.
Unbelievable.
I just hope the international game can pick up.
Yes.
And France pushed the women's team to the game final, and they only lost by 2 points. The U.S. only won it by 2 points. And I really hope WNBA teams go to Europe and start drafting.
Yes.
And because the Olympics elevated the men's game like 100-fold. Yeah. They had to start playing defense. And it really, really elevated the international games. I hope it happens to the women's game. All right. Punkin Chunkin.
Nope. NFL. Let's do NFL.
Want to do NFL first?
We'll end with Punkin Chunkin.
Okay. NFL. What do you want to talk about?
Undefeated. We got Buffalo Bills, Pittsburgh Steelers, Kansas City Chiefs, of course,
Seattle Mariners,
Seattle Seahawks, even
Seahawks. Sorry,
and the Minnesota Vikings. So, and the funny thing is,
Washington Commanders. No,
they're 2-1.
Okay.
We got Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Cincinnati Bengals. Went 3 years out of the Super Bowl, and there's 0-3 to start the season.
Now, Joe Burrow got injured last year, didn't play.
Yeah.
And something's going wrong this year because I watched them against the Commanders game, and the Commanders, who were crap last year, built a sick O-line.
Yes.
And Jaden Daniels, I mean, he takes the snap. You could drive onto that backfield with your car, pull out your tent, set up all your camping equipment, and brew yourself a cup of coffee before he has to throw a ball. He has tons. He's the boy in the plastic bubble.
Yeah.
With unbelievable skills.
Yeah.
The guy's amazing. No. So the Washington Commanders, kudos. Pat Quinn built a proper team, drafted a proper kid. And poor old Caleb Williams has got crap for an O-line.
Yeah.
And it's just he's going to end at RG3. He's going to end up his career in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because he gets getting sacked.
And I think, I said it then, they took Caleb Williams and Oduzze.
Yeah.
Right?
Wide receiver.
The wide receiver. A really good wide receiver, but he's okay. There's no time for him to catch a ball.
No.
Because his quarterback's in the dirt.
Yeah.
Right? And I said it then, Fields is a serviceable quarterback. Pittsburgh, 3-0. Justin Fields started all three of those games. Right? He's a good quarterback that if they built a team around, right, they could have traded that first overall pick, got a later pick in the top 10 still, and some more, picked a couple O-line guys.
Yeah, there's some good guards that went like top 5, top 10.
Built a team. They've got DJ Moore there. They got Cole Kmet. They got Keenan Allen. They've got a decent running back. I can't remember his name. Swift.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift. They got Rashawn Johnson. Like, they've got the pieces there. No O-line.
Yeah.
Right?
None.
And they could have built that O-line and gone with Fields. And if they still tanked out because of Fields, then they could have gotten a quarterback next year or the year after. But they saw Caleb Williams. Everybody's like, oh, the Bears are crazy not to take him. They were crazy to take him. Yeah. And it's going to show. He's going to be another Jamarcus Russell. He's, RG3. It's just like, it's just not going to work.
He needs to. Well, once he gets an O-line, it'll work.
Where are you going to get it? You can't pick up one of those at the corner store.
No, well, they've got the Carolina Panthers first overall pick this year.
Yeah.
Again, and their own pick. So they're going to be topping 2 picks in the top 5.
Yeah.
So they can trade one of those picks and get some O-line guys. I'm sure there's going to be some brilliant O-line guys coming out of college that they can draft. Use both picks to draft overall. Like, just go straight need. You don't need any more offense. You need an O-line.
Yeah.
So there's some 300-pound phenom, rear guard or whatever the nose or center or whatever. You can go with that. Well, they can do it, but they have to say, look, here's the piece of the puzzle we need. Like, you have to look each other in the eye. Wow, look at this running back. Let's take him. It's not going to work. Yeah.
I mean, out of all of them, I firmly think the Seahawks is a lot of smoke and mirrors right now. They haven't played anybody good.
No.
And they barely scraped by.
Yeah.
So they're 3-0, but they're 3-0. Great. My Chargers are 2-1. They won the first 2 handily, and then they came into the third game. They were leading. Right tackle gets hurt.
Yeah.
Quarterback gets hurt. Left tackle gets hurt.
Who's their quarterback? Justin Herbert.
Yeah. So all 3 of them go out of the game by half. They were leading the game, and the offense just stopped at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're talking like your 2 best blockers gone. Right.
Well, you look at the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they just beat the Cowboys the other night.
Yeah.
And this first game of the season they won. The other 2 games they had to lead. Lamar Jackson doing his job, and the defense is just terrible. Terrible defense, right? So it's a team sport. I mean, to start 3-0, like the Seahawks, even if it's a smoke and mirrors 3-0, you've got to set up, okay, I'm 3-0. Where do we need to keep going here? To start 0-3 like the Bengals, that's a lot tougher. I mean, there's still a lot of football left to play, but that is a tough hole to dig yourself out of.
But let's talk about the one team that everybody said, they traded all their receivers, they're going to be trash. They don't have anybody there. They let them all go.
Yeah.
They don't have any there, and Josh Allen can't do it by himself. Well, turns out that Josh Allen can do it by himself. They're 3-0. And he's not doing it by himself. He's spreading the ball around. 11 receivers caught a ball the other night.
I'm so choked that Chase Claypool is.
I know, man.
Any updates?
No, he's still
rehabbing the toe.
Rehabbing the toe, so it could be the majority of the year. It's unfortunate because that happens. Like the guys, they had the ball boy run a route and kind of like got a ball from Josh Allen. Because Josh Allen's proven him all wrong, and he's the best linebacker to ever play quarterback.
Yeah.
The guy just runs the ball.
Of course, who does that remind you of? Jim Kelly.
Yeah.
But here's how things work in that division in Major League Football. Miami can't beat Buffalo. Buffalo can't beat Kansas City. So they can, but the defense has to somehow figure out. The only way to beat Kansas City is to only let them get the ball with less. You have to be beating them by more than 7 points with less than 1 minute left.
Yeah, they got to be able. They got to have to score twice.
Yeah, with less than a minute to go.
With less than a minute to go.
Yeah,
and
you can beat them, but that's never the case.
You may beat them.
You may beat them because he just does it every single time.
So we got KC tomorrow night. We're camping right now. We're at a RV
and San Francisco's not doing too well either. They've had some problems.
They're 2-1, I do believe.
That's really. I watched that Jets game.
1 and 2.
They were going on all cylinders.
Yeah.
I watched that Jets game, and it was just like, this is a team destined to go back to the Super Bowl. It was like they were just like everything, defense, offense, O-line, special teams, everything was just clicking. And then all of a sudden they lose to their old backup quarterback in Minnesota, and then they lose again. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, but
they got some injuries.
Injuries, right? Yeah. Their running backs hurt. All their receivers are hurt. The one guy that held out is the only guy healthy.
Who's the poor bastard that got shot?
Oh, that rookie,
Yeah, he took a bullet right through the shoulder.
Yeah.
Took it through the shoulder, then ripped the guy's gun and shot him with his own gun or something like that. Holy.
Yeah.
If I'm the opposition, I want him on the sideline. That can sound like a psychopath.
But, they're not horrible.
No.
You look at their points for 73, their points against are 69.
Yeah.
So the games are tight.
Yeah.
Right?
Who's the tailback in Chicago? Swift?
Yeah.
What's his first name? DeAndre Swift. So there's a joke on Facebook. The nepotism in the NFL has to stop. The only reason DeAndre Swift has a game job in the NFL is because Travis Kelce's dating his sister.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny. because he was in Philadelphia last year, and when Travis and Taylor started dating, right, there was like pictures of the original Kelsey and Swift, and you see
Oh,
Jason
right. Yeah.
blocking.
Yeah, it's Jason, his brother. Yeah.
The original Kelsey and Swift.
Okay, Punkin Chunkin, want to go there?
Punkin Chunkin. Okay, so a little history on this one here. This is where we started.
This is why engineers need to be supervised at all times.
So I work for a manufacturing plant. We have engineers there.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the engineers comes up, and me and him start talking about battle bots.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a public knowledge, but we're going to do it. We're going to do battle bots, right? So
battle bots or RC.
No, they're engineers build these things.
But they're RC though. They're remote control.
Yeah, they're remote control robots,
and they battle each other, right?
They get in the ring and they just
and it's in like a closed ring, and everybody builds their own from scratch, and they do battle, and
and so the big thing in Vegas, they got a TV show now called Battle Bots. They got a Vegas whole 9 yards. So we're talking about battle bots, and then I started talking about our show. We got to put battle bots on one time, and we'll do that another time.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, off-topic sports. Look at Punkin Chunkin." So I looked at this.
Punkin, Punkin, and then Chunkin, Chunkin. Okay.
This thing here is an engineer built to throw a pumpkin. So to be the person that's throwing pumpkin. Like, these guys are crazy, and they've got air division. They got trebuchet and catapult division.
Yeah.
They got mechanical divisions. They've got, like, this is just nuts. So I'm just going to click on the video here.
Modern Family did a take on this once, where they had to want to throw the pumpkin, put it through the uprights, and
So I went on here and I was looking at it, and just the amount of time and energy these guys put into this. I thought, someone's got a big elastic band. No. These are mechanical devices, and they're like, stand clear. We're going to fire this thing.
It's crazy. I mean, this is engineers. What I like about this, it's critical thinking. Right?
Yes.
And it's competitive. How do I get my pumpkin to go farther than the guy standing next to me?
And then you got all these people.
And you're dealing physics and mathematics and density and the curvature of the earth. Like, you're factoring everything in.
The sponsors involved. And this is an hour and 20 video. I just wanted to catch one of them throwing something. But I don't know. But look at this thing.
It's amazing what the guys can do. It's they're dealing with problem solving all day, right?
Yeah.
How do we get a spaceship into outer space and make it come back again?
Yeah. So So I thought this was pretty crazy.
Punkin Chunkin.
Punkin Chunkin. So
here's Goober. Engineers without supervision are a dangerous thing. That's why they have things like budgets and supervisors. No, you're not doing that.
Yeah, no, the video here is not the greatest. It's an hour and 12 minutes. You want to check it out, go to punkinchunkin.com.
Do you remember the MTV show, Pimp My Ride?
Yeah, that was a good one.
My favorite episode is when they got in trouble for it. They actually set up the exhaust system so that flames came out.
Yeah.
And they got like marshmallows they're trying to roast. The supervisor comes out like, no. People go to jail for that kind of stuff. No. Get rid of it now. Oh, boy. Now. Well, that's what you leave these guys unsupervised, and it's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. So... All right, let's go. What's our last one? Rumble
in the Rockies. Next February, the 27th. The Red Deer Alberta at the Dome. This is an absolutely wonderful football tournament that takes place in the middle of the freezing cold prairie in a fantastic facility in Red Deer. Yeah. And we're going to let the video speak for itself.
Yeah, Wayne went up there. He did the recordings for it last year. We took a look at it, and it was so well done. The kids seemed to have so much fun. I talked to Jamie Borum. From the Prince George Kodiak about it when we were at the flag tournament. I said, how'd you like it? And he raved about it, said it was a great time. So, yeah, it's been awesome. We should have talked BCFC.
What's Oscars are doing?
Oscars are in the playoffs.
They're playing tonight. They're in Kelowna tonight, right?
They're in Okanagan tonight.
Yes.
Kelowna tonight. If they some chance win, they might have a home game, but Okanagan is undefeated, and they're crushing it. And then there's West Shore Langley.
Yeah.
And then value.
Bob Reese, I've said this to him personally. He's done an amazing job the regular season, but that is the one peak he cannot master is the playoffs. He hasn't had that one playoff win, and he comes in 6-4, and he gets they're the last team to get in, even though they have a good record, and they're always playing the best team at the top, and you got to get that one playoff win. You had that one regular season win, unbelievable fashion all those years ago. Down 31-3 at the half to Okanagan, came storming back. But
here they play in Okanagan today. Next week they go over to the island to play the VI Raiders.
Right.
And then they go and then they're going to go back up to the Okanagan to play a game up there.
West Shore or whatever, yeah. So it's a bit tough. But we'll see. They had, lots of fans going to the games.
Yeah.
They're really exciting. Everybody gets into it.
But Jay Borum and then Prince George Kodiak made me think about that. But let's go back to Rumble in the Rockies, because this is a fabulous event. And we got a bit of a hype video here for you right now. And we're going to turn it over there. And we'll be back in a couple weeks where we'll go off
topic
one more time.
Thanks, guys.
And welcome to Red Deer, the beautiful dome that's hosted the Rumble in the Rockies.
Nice catch! Beautiful catch right there. Under pressure.